In this video, we will give you 6 tips to write chord progressions like this. In a major key, there are 7 chords. 3 of these are major and 3 of these are minor. In our other videos, we have limited our chords to a selection from these 6. In this video, we will use all 6 and show you some new techniques this opens up. Using first and second inversions, this brings our total to 18 chords. If you need help with chord inversions, there are links in the description below to help you. Tip number 1. Sections can be entirely major or entirely minor. Because we have 6 chords to choose from, a section can be constructed using only one type of chord. This can allow us to contrast the mood between different sections more effectively by focusing on a single type of chord. For example, a verse could be minor so that when we move to an entirely major chorus, the change in mood elevates the chorus. In the key of C major, it could look like this. Tip number 2. Easier to have one section as a turnaround. A turnaround is typically a 2 or 4 bar sequence of chords that repeats. It helps to create a repetitive hook in a song, which makes it more memorable. With a choice of 18 chords, we can create a turnaround and still have chords left over to create other sections that are distinct enough from the turnaround. This allows the turnaround to stand out more, which can reinforce the main hook, which it usually contains. For example, use the common turnaround 1-5-6-4 for the chorus, then use the 2 and 3 chords in a verse, such as 2-3-4-5. The 1 and 6 chords will only appear in the chorus. Tip number 3. Save your repetition. Because we have a wider palette of 18 chords, sequences don't have to be so repetitive. We can save the repetition for key moments to reinforce the melody or the hook, for example in a chorus, maybe using a turnaround as we did in tip number 2. For example, you could create a verse with no repeats, such as Tip number 4. 1 minor per section. With a choice of 3 minor chords, we can spread these throughout our song. So each section of a song could have 1 minor chord. This can spread the feeling of the minor chord throughout the song and allow us to provide contrast within each section. For example, you could have the 3 chord in a verse, the 6 chord in a chorus, and the 2 chord in a bridge. These minor chords will also be accompanied by the 1-4-5 major chords as a framework. Tip number 5, reharmonizing. Reharmonizing is when we change a chord to its relative minor. If you're not sure about this, then check out our video on the relative minor chords. This is often used in a later chorus or verse to provide contrast or to elevate emotion as the song progresses. The reharmonizing can be all of the chords in a progression or just a selection, maybe to reinforce a primary hook. For example, you could also reharmonize a later chorus by swapping the chords out, but not using the relative minor. This can be particularly powerful if you have a repeated hook and you want to change the feel of the hook with later repeats by changing the underlying chords. Tip number 6, chord substitution in a turnaround. Every turnaround can be transformed by using the relative minor chords. This can be useful. For example, a minor form could be used for the intro or the bridge, and a major form could be used for a chorus. You could also use the minor form for the second of 3 choruses to add interest. Minor forms can also be used for instrumental breaks and solos. The idea of something that sounds familiar, the same but different, is very powerful in songwriting. For example, a 1-6-4-5 progression could become 6-1-2-3. For more turnarounds and progressions to use these techniques on, check out this playlist.